Sure. Well, let me just say from the onset, I in no way speak for the Black Lives Matter movement. I am not a part of the political leadership of that movement. Um, I am and have been a racial justice activist and community organizer for over a decade, as well as a scholar critic. But I do not speak for the Black Lives Matter movement. But as a scholar and community organizer, I certainly can help to narrativize its history and situate it historically and politically. Black Lives Matter began in 2013 as a national organizing campaign conceived by three queer black women, Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Opal Tometi. And I speak their name with honor and gratitude for their labor and work. And it began as a national organizing campaign in the form of a hashtag, Black Lives Matter, which came in response to the George Zimmerman acquittal in the Trayvon Martin case. But the fact that Black Lives Matter was conceived rather by three members of the LGBTQ community, by three black women, is significant. These are significant points. These are not just footnotes. Because what that means is that, well, it means a couple of things. Number one, when we say Black Lives Matter, we're not just talking to white folk, right? That we're also talking to our own community. Black Lives Matter was originally conceived in part as a kind of feminist and queer critique of what the political scientist Kathy Cohen would call the boundaries of blackness. This idea that only heterosexual black men get to speak for the community. And so Black Lives Matter has been a movement that has been trying to affirm the importance of all black life, not just the lives, again, of black men. And that's significant because far too often our community knows the names of Trayvon Martin and Eric Garner and Michael Brown, but does not know the names of people like Elon Nettles or Ayanna Stanley Jones or Renisha McBride or Chantel Davis. And that's a problem. And that is a concern I have with the kind of co-opting of the Black Lives Matter movement that we have seen at the national level. That for all this talk of Black Lives Matter, I'm still waiting for one moment in American history, it hasn't come yet, where black people have been willing to take the streets by the tens of thousands, the way that they did in protest of the Garner decision and the Mike Brown decision. I'm still waiting for the moment that black people do that in response to the death or murder of a black woman, black girl, or black trans-bodied person. It still has not happened once in American history, which tells you quite a bit about the work that we have to do as a community and really shifting Black Lives Matter as more than simply a populist catchphrase, but it's something that's actually going on in practice, where we are affirming the worth and value of all of the members of our community, not just a select few. To your second point, in many ways, the Black Lives Matter movement and Ferguson in particular signals, I think, the death of traditional approaches to black political organizing and a changing of the guard of black political leadership in the US. So to use a biblical reference, in many ways, Black Lives Matter, the movement, represents a shift from the Moses generation of the civil rights movement to the Joshua generation of the post-millennial generation. And that's important because Black Lives Matter and Ferguson have primarily been decentralized movements where there is no one elected leader who is called to speak for the movement. The young people of Ferguson have made it clear the age of the age of being led by the charismatic heterosexual black male preacher is dead, which is why each of the times I've gone to Ferguson, I have witnessed the NAACP get booed, Jesse Jackson get booed, Brother Sharpton get booed, and even Brother Cornel West. He also, though he emerged in the context of the media as one of the faces of Ferguson when he was arrested back in October, For those of us who were on the ground, we remember that just the night before, at the event at Chavez Arena, the Chavez Center in St. Louis, he too received some pushback from the young people in the audience. And so what that means is that I don't think the young people are necessarily critiquing these individuals. They are critiquing a kind of model of black political leadership that is dated. And so Black Lives Matter and the Ferguson movement represents, I think, a significant shifting of the guard and changing of the face of black political leadership.